September 7, 1974. A day when Pakistan's history changed forever. Behind closed doors, fiery speeches echoed in Parliament while massive crowds filled the streets, ready to sacrifice everything for their faith. Under immense international pressure, Prime Minister Bhutto faced a decision that would shake the world. How did this movement achieve a unanimous victory, declaring Qadianis, Ahmadis, Ahmadiyya Muslim community, a non-Muslim minority? The untold story of courage, politics, and sacrifice, revealed now. On May 29, 1974, at Rabwa, Chenab Nagar, railway station, students of Nishtar Medical College Multan were attacked with iron rods, whips made of iron wires, and claws. They were beaten and injured. A week earlier, on May 22, while travelling for a recreational trip to Peshawar, these students passed through Chenab Nagar by Chenab Express. At that time, it was the routine of Qadianis, Ahmadis, Ahmadiyya Muslim community, to distribute their missionary literature on all trains passing through Chenab Nagar. On that day, they also gave literature to these students. Before this, an election had been held at Nishtar Medical College Multan in which a Qadiani was a candidate. Muslim students opposed him on the basis of Qadianism, and their minds were already prepared against Qadianism. As soon as the Qadiani literature was distributed, Muslim students became angry. Qadianis also took serious notice of their resistance. Some Qadiani youths, who were playing nearby, rushed to the station with hockey sticks. The situation escalated into an argument, but fortunately, the train departed, and a clash was avoided. The Qadianis reported the students to CID, learned about their program, and waited for their return. On May 29, when the students returned by the same train, Qadiani volunteers of Qudam al-Ahmadiyya, a semi-military organization, boarded their compartment from Sagodha. When the train reached Nishtarabad, the Qadiani station master informed the Qadiani station master at Chenab Nagar by railway phone that the students' compartment was the third from the end. The Chenab Nagar station master had been inquiring about the train's arrival from every station along the way. Qadiani leadership was eagerly and frantically waiting for the train. From Nishtarabad and Lalian, more Qadiani youths also boarded the reserved compartment. When the train reached Chenab Nagar station, Qadiani thugs surrounded the students' compartment from both sides. Under the leadership of Mirza Tahir, who later became the Qadiani head, they brutally beat and injured the Muslim students. Their clothes were torn, bodies covered in wounds, and belongings looted. The Qadiani station master kept the train stopped until the attack was complete. Faisalabad Railway Control inquired why the train was delayed, and they were told a riot had occurred. The news reached local and provincial administration. Meanwhile, Maulana Taj Mahmud was informed by a railway officer about the incident just before the train reached Faisalabad. He quickly mobilized members of the international Khatm-e-Nubuwwat movement, scholars, citizens, students, and officials to gather at the station. Thousands assembled, raising slogans and protesting. Injured students were taken off the train, given first aid, and met by government officials. The officials suggested detaining the train and treating the injured there, but the students insisted on reaching Multan for treatment at Nishtar Hospital. Demands were presented: a judicial inquiry of the incident, arrest of all culprits including Qadiani station masters of Chenab Nagar and Nishtarabad, and strict punishment of those involved. The Chief Secretary accepted all demands. Injured students were shifted to an air-conditioned coach, and the train moved on. Later that day, a press conference was held, and protests were organized in multiple cities. Maulana Muhammad Sharif Jalandhari informed Maulana Syed Muhammad Yusuf Binori, leader of the international Khatm-e-Nubuwwat movement, and Maulana Khwaja Khan Muhammad. Nationwide communication was made to scholars and leaders. On June 3, 1974, a meeting was called in Rawalpindi, followed by another in Lahore on June 9, 1974, attended by leaders of 18 political and religious parties including Maulana Mufti Mahmud, Maulana Syed Muhammad Yusuf Binori, Maulana Khwaja Khan Muhammad, Maulana Abdul Sattar Khan Niazi, Maulana Ghulamullah Khan, Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan, Maulana Shah Ahmed Noani, Maulana Ubadullah Anwar, and others. The entire opposition, except the People's Party, united under the cause of protecting the belief in the finality of prophethood. Maulana Syed Mohammed Yusuf Binori was made convener of the All-Party Central Action Committee for the protection of Khatm-e-Nubuwwat. An economic and social boycott of Qadianis, Ahmadis, Ahmadiyya Muslim community, was announced. On June 14, a nationwide strike was called upon by the Muslims of Pakistan. On June 16, the permanent selection of the Majlis-e-Amal was decided in Faisalabad. On June 11, Aga Shorash Kashmiri, Maulana Syed Mohammed Yusuf Binori, and other scholars met Prime Minister Bhutto and held discussions on the issue of the Qadianis, Ahmadis, Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Maulana Syed Mohammed Yusuf Binori told Bhutto that Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan had wanted to resolve the Qadiani issue, but he was martyred. At this Bhutto remarked, "Now you also want me to be martyred." Sheikh Binori struck Bhutto's desk with his fist and said, "You are not destined for that." Bhutto was left stunned at this response. On June 14, a nationwide strike took place in support of declaring Qadianis as a minority. Such a massive strike had never taken place before. This strike was likened to a referendum. A gathering was held in Wazir Khan Mosque, Lahore, where Maulana Abdul Sattar Khan Niazi, Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan, Aga Shorash Kashmiri, Maulana Ubadullah Anwar, Syed Muzaffar Ali Shamsi, Ihsan-Allahi Zahir, and Syed Mahmud Ahmed Rizvi delivered speeches. Justice Samadani was appointed to investigate the incident of Chenab Nagar, and on May 31 he announced the procedure of inquiry. On June 14, Prime Minister Bhutto delivered a speech announcing that the issue would be resolved according to the aspirations of the people. He promised to take the matter to the National Assembly. A strong movement of boycott against Qadianis was launched across the country. The movement for the finality of prophethood in 1974 formally began on June 16, a historic day in Faisalabad. Religious and political leadership from all over the country gathered there. A meeting of the Majlis-e-Amal was held in Model Town C under the presidency of Maulana Syed Mohammed Yusuf Binori. Many scholars and leaders attended, including Maulana Khawaya Khan Muhammad, Sada Miralam Khan Leghari, Taj Mahmud, Maulana Muhammad Sharif Jalundri, Maulana Mufti Mahmud, Maulana Abdul Haq, Maulana Ubadullah Anwar, Maulana Shah Ahmed Nawani, Maulana Abdul Sattar Khan Niazi, Maulana Fazol Rasul, Maulana Mahmud Ahmed Rizvi, Mian Fazol Haq, Maulana Abdul Qadi Ropri, Maulana Muhammad Ishaq Chima, Sheikh Muhammad Ashraf, Maulana Muhammad Sharif Ashraf, Maulana Muhammad Siddiq, Ulama, Ihsan-Allahi Zahir, Maulana Mufti Zainal Abidin, Maulana Ali Ghazanfar Karavi, Maulana Muhammad Ismail, Syed Muzaffar Ali Shamsi, Major Ijaz, Rana Zafarullah Khan, Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan, Maulana Ubadullah Ara, Maulana Syed Atta al-Munim Bukhari, Chaudhry Sanullah Bhutta, Chaudhry Safdar Ali Rizvi, Malik Abdul Ghaffur Anwari, Maulana Ghulamullah Khan, Syed Inayatullah Shah Bukhari, Maulana Ghulam Ali Okavi, Syed Mahmud Shah Gujarati, Mufti Siyahuddin, Maulana Muhammad Chira, Syed Noor Al-Hassan Bukhari, Maulana Abdul Sattar Tansoyi, Maulana Khalil Ahmed Qadri, Aga Shorash Kashmiri, Arbab Sikandar Khan, Professor Ghaffur Ahmed, Chaudhry Ghulam Jalani, Maulana Tsafar Ahmed Ansari, Maulana Hakim Abdul Rahim Ashraf, and many others. Maulana Syed Mohammed Yusuf Binori was elected as president. Syed Mahmud Ahmed Rizvi was chosen as the chief organizer, Maulana Muhammad Sharif Jalundri as organizer, Maulana Abdul Sattar Khan Niazi, Syed Muzaffar Ali Shamsi, Maulana Abdul Haq, Maulana Abdul Wahid, and Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan as vice presidents, and Mian Fazol Haq as treasurer. On the evening of June 16, a grand gathering was held in Faisalabad, where leaders and speakers from across the country gave passionate speeches. Bhutto's radio and television address was declared unacceptable. All resolutions of the Majlis-e-Amal meeting were drafted by Maulana Muhammad Sharif Jalundri and Professor Ghaffur Ahmed. The movement of boycott against Qadianis was in full swing across the nation. From Karachi to Khyber, Muslims devoted their efforts to declare Qadianis as a non-Muslim minority. On June 20, the Frontier Assembly unanimously passed a resolution declaring Qadianis as a non-Muslim minority. On June 22, the government held a meeting in Murree concerning the Qadiani issue, in which several important decisions were made, including the declaration of Chenab Nagar as an open city. On June 23, Saleh Noor presented his testimony before the Samadani Commission, which caused confusion among the Qadianis. On July 1, the National Assembly session began. Both the government and opposition agreed to constitute the Assembly into a committee. The head of the Qadianis, Mirza Nazir, and the leader of the Lahoris, Maulvi Sadruddin, were summoned to the National Assembly and presented their positions. Members wrote their questions, which were posed to them by Attorney General Yahya Bakhtiar. Maulana Mufti Mahmud assisted Bakhtiar in matters of religion and law. On July 19, Mirza Nazir appeared before the Samadani Commission. Before his appearance in the High Court, the Assembly decided to conduct the proceedings in closed sessions instead of open ones. All parties presented their case through their lawyers. Even the supposedly neutral members of the ruling party were so angered by Mirza Nazir's responses that they questioned him harshly. At certain blasphemous remarks, the members strongly rebuked him. All members of the Assembly became united in their consensus that Qadianism is outside of Islam. In response to the Qadiani statements in the Assembly, a book titled The Position of the Muslim Ummah was compiled under the leadership of Maulana Syed Muhammad Yusuf Binori, with Maulana Muhammad Taqi Usmani and Maulana Sami ul-Haq assisting. For the religious section, Maulana Taqi Usmani was assisted by Maulana Muhammad Hoyat Fatah Qadian and Maulana Abdul Rahim Ashar. For the political section, Maulana Sami ul-Haq was assisted by Maulana Muhammad Sharif Jalundri and Taj Mahmud. Every completed portion of the book was reviewed at night by Maulana Mufti Mahmud, Maulana Shah Ahmed Noani, Professor Ghafoor Ahmed, and Chaudhry Zahor Elahi, after which corrections and additions were made. The manuscript was then given to the renowned calligrapher Syed Anwar Hussain Nafiz, who along with his team completed the calligraphy. In a short time, the comprehensive book was finalized and printed. All expenses of the book and the movement were borne by Majlis Tahaffuz Khatm-e-Nubuwwat. The boycott campaign by Majlis-e Amal against Qadianis broke their strength, and confusion spread among them. Many Qadianis accepted Islam and publicly announced their disassociation in newspapers. In some areas, Muslims were martyred due to Qadiani gunfire. The provocative actions of Qadianis fueled even stronger reactions for their accountability. The movement continued, and all schools of thought across the country contributed according to their capacity to ensure its success. Some prominent figures in Saudi Arabia advised the government to declare Qadianis as a non-Muslim minority. The scholars of Al-Azhar University in Egypt declared the boycott of Qadianis obligatory. This further strengthened public opinion and greatly benefited the movement. Maulana Mufti Mahmud read the book The Position of the Muslim Ummah in the National Assembly, and it was distributed among all members. Maulana Ghulam Ghaus Hazavi also compiled and published his own material in response to Qadianis and Lahoris, and read it in the Assembly. By the grace of God, these efforts produced significant results. Initially, some Assembly members were influenced by tolerance, but when Mirza Nazir admitted during cross-examination that those who did not believe in Mirza were considered disbelievers, the Assembly members realized that the Qadianis regarded them too as disbelievers. When the stance of the Muslim Ummah was presented, the disbelief of Qadianism became clear. To find a resolution, both the government and the Majlis-e Amal formed a subcommittee. From Majlis-e Amal, Maulana Mufti Mahmud, Maulana Shah Ahmed Noani, Professor Ghafoor Ahmed, and Chaudhry Zahor Elahi were chosen. From the government, Abdul Hafiz Pazada, Maulana Kauza Niazi, and Law Secretary Afzal Chima were selected. Many meetings of this committee were held, but no conclusion was reached. The government members adopted delaying tactics, creating a crisis. September 7th was announced as the date for the Assembly's final decision. On August 25th, an 11-day cross-examination of Mirza Nazir was completed, followed by a 7-hour cross-examination of the Lahori leader Sadruddin. Members of the National Assembly were satisfied with the proceedings, but the government was still hesitant. On September 2, a historic and grand gathering took place in Shahi Mosque, Lahore. Religious, social, and political leaders from across the country addressed the gathering. Massive crowds arrived, especially from Punjab. The Shahi Mosque could not contain the people, and an endless sea of humanity was seen. Earlier, when Bhutto had visited Balochistan, the public at Fort Sandaman and Quetta expressed such anger against Qadianism that even a man of Bhutto's strong nerves felt suffocated. In Karian, due to the mistakes of SP Sharif Ahmed Chima, 2 Muslim youths, Ghulam Nabi and Muhammad Yusuf, were martyred by police firing. Under the leadership of Maulana Muhammad Yusuf Binori, the movement was kept alive nationwide without losing momentum. As time passed, the difficulties for the government and Qadianis increased. Zafarullah Qadiani tried to exert external pressure through the international press, but the overwhelming passion of the people did not allow the government to bend. Thus, both disbelief and Islam had thrown all their resources into the battlefield. Chaudhry Zahor Elahi, Afzal Chima, Hakim Abdul Rahim Ashraf, Maulana Mufti Zain al-Abidin, and Maulana Safar Ahmed Ansari had a long discussion. Maulana Safar Ahmed Ansari clearly stated that the issue of the finality of prophethood is a fundamental matter of religion, and declaring it a secondary issue is wrong. In reality, it was Afzal Chima who was being stubborn in this matter. When all participants pressed him, Chima became frustrated and said, "If you people want to hollow out the foundations of the country in this way, then go ahead and do whatever you want." Nevertheless, a report of the meeting with Maulana Safar Ahmed Ansari was presented to Bhutto. Eventually, the cause of the finality of prophethood prevailed. After this, a subcommittee meeting was held in the National Assembly offices. Zahor Elahi, Maulana Mufti Mahmud, Professor Ghafoor Ahmed, Maulana Shah Ahmed Noani, Hafiz Pirzada, Maulana Kauza Niazi, and Afzal Chima participated. Before leaving for the meeting, Maulana Mufti Mahmud instructed us to go to Raja Bazar for a meeting of Majlis-e Amal. I requested Mufti Mahmud to keep us informed of the government's stance so that we could set our policy accordingly. A meeting began at Darul Uloom Raja Bazar Rawalpindi. Aga Shorash Kashmiri, though unwell, attended while lying down. Maulana Syed Muhammad Yusuf Binori presided. Among those present were Syed Muzaffar Ali Shamsi, Syed Mahmud Ahmed Rizwi, Maulana Khwaja Khan Muhammad, Maulana Muhammad Sharif Jalandhri, Sada Miralam Khan Laghari, Banda Taj Mahmud, Mufti Zain al-Abidin, Hakim Abdul Rahim Ashraf, Ali Ghazanfar Karavi, Maulana Ghulam Khan, Maulana Ghulam Ali Okavi, Maulana Ihsan Elahi Zahir, Maulana Ubadullah Anwar, Nawabzada Nasrullah Khan, Khan Muhammad Zaman Khan Akakzai, Maulana Muhammad Ali Rizwi, Maulana Abdurrahman of Jamia Ashrafiyah, Maulana Sahibzada Fazil Rasul Haider, and many others. The entire Majlis-e Amal was considering the future course if the government did not accept the demands, as the struggle was now more with the government than with the Qadianis. Everyone was ready to sacrifice their lives for the protection of the honor of the finality of prophethood. At that moment, Maulana Mufti Mahmud called to say that the situation looked hopeful and that the subcommittee was expected to reach a unanimous draft. Hafiz Pirzada informed Bhutto of the developments. Bhutto called all committee members to his residence, listened to their positions, and said, "Do not waste any more time. Tonight at midnight, we will meet again and make a clear decision." That evening, a public gathering was held at Raja Bazar's central mosque. The speeches were fiery, and the crowd had become like a volcanic eruption. It was announced that if the demands were not met the next day, Raja Bazar would be filled with the bodies of the martyrs of the finality of prophethood. As the night went on, the intensity of the speeches increased. Bhutto was receiving reports of every moment of the gathering. At midnight, as scheduled, the committee met under Bhutto's chairmanship. While the meeting was in Islamabad, the gathering continued in Rawalpindi. Around 1:30 a.m., Maulana Mufti Mahmud, Maulana Shah Ahmed Noani, Professor Ghafoor Ahmed, and Chaudhry Zahor Elahi returned to the gathering after negotiations. Before climbing the stage, Maulana Mufti Mahmud signaled to me and said, "Congratulations, tomorrow, God willing, victory will be yours. But do not reveal this yet, as the government cannot be trusted." I informed Sheikh Binori, who instinctively exclaimed loudly, "Praise be to God." Many understood from his words what had transpired. Bhutto was a shrewd man. He had already decided in his heart that he would resolve the issue according to the will of the people, and declare the Qadianis a non-Muslim minority. But he was also aware of the obstacles and pressures. He knew that making such a decision quickly would bring strong pressure from America, Britain, France, and West Germany. He told Perzada, "Go home and rest. Tomorrow, I will have a unanimous resolution passed in both the National Assembly and the Senate, declaring the Qadianis non-Muslims and including them among the minorities." The instructions to the provincial, divisional, and district administrations to crush the movement and the deployment of the army with weapons in the cities were merely to distract the pro-Qadiani forces. By the grace of God, on September 7th, the National Assembly and the Senate unanimously declared the Qadianis a non-Muslim minority. Thus, this struggle ended in victory. Falsehood was defeated, and Islam triumphed. The cause of the finality of prophethood was elevated, and the deniers of it were disgraced. Truth is always supreme and never low. In the evening, when the news was broadcast on radio and television and published in newspapers the next day, the nation was overwhelmed with joy. People felt a happiness greater than if their deceased fathers had returned to life. This was because, as the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "None of you can be a true believer until I am dearer to him than his parents, his children, and his own self." By acting upon this hadith, the Muslim nation proved in the movement for the finality of prophethood that love for the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, is indeed the true sign of complete faith.